What's the secret of incredible gymnast flexibility and how you can achieve it yourself? Let's start with the harsh truth. Professional gymnasts began practicing gymnastics between the ages of 4 and 6. At this age, children are extremely flexible and learn quickly, which is ideal for mastering basic movements and skills. Additionally, they achieve this high level of flexibility with entirely different, sometimes drastic methods necessary for professional level gymnastics and maintain it as they grew up. So on one hand, we are fundamentally more flexible in our youth, which is a huge advantage. However, young gymnasts often achieve this flexibility with the help of their coaches, which is not always the most pleasant experience. Increasing flexibility is never necessarily a pleasant activity. As adults, at least we have the discipline, awareness, and determination, even though this period may not be the easiest for developing flexibility. Of course, if you really want to, you can have your training partner press you down into a split, but be aware that it can easily lead to injury, and there are many more effective and painless techniques. In this video, I will show you 3 effective stretching methods that can help you build a great basic flexibility. If you have such ambitions, you can even reach the gymnast level with them. Since many people don't really care about stretching and flexibility, they don't have that much knowledge about it, let's see what it's all about. Mobility, flexibility, joint range of motion, or whatever we call it, is important because it determines our movement range of motions and the freedom of our movements. This depends on many things. First of all, every joint has its own possible range of motion based on its structure. Besides that, your flexibility depends on your age, gender, genetics, your posture, your muscle tissues, connective tissues, ligaments, your skin flexibility, some diseases, your training level, the temperature, the time of the day, and your mental state. Your flexibility is good if you can move your joints in the biggest possible range of motion with control. If you don't move a joint in its range of motion, the muscles and tissues around it will be tighter and tighter. Many people experience this simply because they are inactive, but the same happens if you feel pain. Your nervous system's defense mechanism doesn't let you move in the range where you feel pain by sending this sign to your brain. This is where this vicious cycle begins in many cases. This is why you have to move, train smart, and pay attention to injury prevention with joint preparation exercises. Your muscles can decrease their length to their half or even 1/3 range of motion. That's especially true for the slow-twitch muscle fibers, which take part of your posture a lot. By this function, they are under tension almost all the time, and if you don't move and stretch them, they can shorten. And the shortened muscles result in a worse posture, which has a really complex effect on your body. To increase the mobility and joint range of motion, many people see immediate results by using connective tissue massage like foam rolling. But does it replace stretching itself? No. However, since our muscles and muscle tissues are surrounded with connective tissues, they are directly affecting its elasticity. If we release the tension in these tissues, we can access the muscles more efficiently to stretch them. As I mentioned earlier, the constantly used, tight slow-twitch muscles that take part in your posture can shorten to their half or even 1/3. Fortunately, the opposite is also possible. By stretching, the muscles can double their original length. This means an increased range of motion and more movement freedom. To achieve this, you just need to apply the right stretching techniques. It's not only worth for movement freedom and increased range of motion, but for faster recovery, injury prevention, increased endurance, and muscle control. When is the best time to do soft tissue massage or stretching? Basically any time you need it, but there are some highly suggested times. Generally, the best time for stretching is in the afternoon. After long hours of sitting, it's worth to do some foam rolling, light stretching, and the best time is before and after workout. If you neglect this time, you will feel its absence quickly. But let's be real, in the beginning, the 2 most likely times that you will do foam rolling or stretching is before and or after workout. If you'll be more advanced, you may add some in the morning or before bedtime, but most people need extra discipline for that. Before we take a look at the 3 stretching techniques, one more thing. In many cases, the most common problems can be fixed with 2-in-1 exercises. I mentioned this earlier on the channel. Your strength training can be your stretching. The point of these exercises is that you build strength and mobilize at the same time. Our goal always should be to actually be able to use the new range of motion. If you work following a well-structured system, that's exactly how you hit more at once. The gymnastics method system is built up like this, with many useful exercises and a great structure. With only using the warm-up and prehab routine, you can reach a decent level of mobility, and we use the same principle with the stretching exercises as well, so if you get a new range of motion, you will be able to actually use it. The first method is the dynamic stretching. This type of stretching is when a part of the body is in motion and the speed of the movement gradually increases, the degree of stretching, or both at the same time. Dynamic stretches are slow and controlled leg or arm swings or upper body twists. Dynamic stretching develops dynamic flexibility and it's really useful for warming up. It should not be mixed up with ballistic stretching, in which the limbs are forced out of the existing range of motion for a moment during the swings. This can cause injury and negatively irritates the nervous system. If you want to learn a complete 5-minute gymnastic warm-up, check out that video on the channel. The second method is the PNF stretching. The PNF stands for proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, which is an advanced stretching type. Proprioception refers to receptors sensitive to changing muscle length. The term neuromuscular refers to neuromuscular relationship, and facilitation means promotion or support. The first method is the contraction and relaxation method, which is really effective to increase range of motion. This can be practiced alone or with a partner. It can be used to override the nervous system defense mechanism called the myotatic reflex, allowing the muscle to be stretched more efficiently. Its advantage is that the given muscle is strengthened in addition to stretching. The stretching procedure is the following. We first stretch the muscle to the elastic limit of movement, then in this position we force it to contract with little resistance. After slow exhalation, we stretch it further. This is repeated 3 or 4 times. The other method is similar to the previous one, but it goes further, taking advantage of the regularity that if a muscle contracts, the antagonist muscle must loosen. So you stretch the muscle to the elastic limit of its range, then in this position you contract it with little resistance and hold, for example, 15 to 20 seconds. After that, you release the tension and you contract the antagonist muscle, so the muscle that you stretch can be stretched a little more. For example, if you stretch the hamstrings, after the tension and release, you contract the quads, so you stretch the hamstrings more. The third method is the loaded progressive stretching. In this stretching method, we use external resistance such as dumbbells, kettlebells, weight plates, etc. In the name, the word progressive refers to the weight that you can increase gradually. This method is also excellent for improving joint mobility while loading the muscle or muscles you want to stretch. The stretching procedure is the following. Use some weight and stretch the muscle or muscles you want to stretch, and move slow and controlled to the direction of the stretch. If you have reached your limit, go back to the starting position. Repeat this 5 to 10 times and hold the last rep for 10 to 30 seconds. Exhale in the eccentric phase while you stretch the muscle, and inhale when you go back to the starting position. Breathe calmly during the final stretch as well. The dynamic part is basically like a strengthening exercise with the concentric and eccentric phase, but here you need to focus on the eccentric, so the stretching part. Don't forget about breathing during any of these stretches. This statement basically includes everything you need to know. You need to be able to breathe while stretching. If you don't, you just keep your breath and squeeze, then you do it wrong. Always try to breathe calmly through your nose, or you can exhale on your mouth as well. However, I prefer nose breathing as much as possible. From the pain's perspective, it's different for everyone. Pain cannot be measured in an objective way, as we must rely on our subjective experience and senses. To determine your pain threshold, imagine a scale from 1 to 10, with level 1 as a gentle touch and 10 as unbearable pain. It's recommended to load your nervous system up to the 5th or 6th degree. So these are 3 methods that I recommend to everyone for effectively stretching joint mobility or flexibility in general. Actually, by performing gymnastics warm-up, I recommend completing an entire joint preparation program, which includes mobilizations for all major joints, as well as utilizing 2-in-1 strengthening exercises. You can drastically improve your flexibility, achieving a level beyond which you might not necessarily need anything more. I'm not extremely flexible myself, but by applying these methods, I can perform every exercise I desire with basic flexibility. However, if you want to elevate this to a higher level, you can do so effectively with the PNF as well as loaded active stretching. If you also want to start training according to this complete system, which has been successfully used by thousands of people worldwide, click the link below, download the Gymnastics Method app in the App Store or Google Play Store, become a member, and get full access to all programs, tutorials, daily workouts, and much more. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. If you haven't watched my earlier videos about gymnastics training, check them out on the end screen now.